oh my gosh, 3/100ths of a degree face angle, 2/100ths of a degree in the club twist. That's rare.
What happens at a Tour Pros putter fitting? Today we're at the Callaway Performance Centre in California to find out.
I'll give you my putter spiel. The philosophy for doing a putter fitting is different than if we do, like if I went outside and fit one of our tour staff for a driver. There's objective metrics that you're shooting for, essentially. You're going to see whether you're getting closer or farther from that solution, right? So you feel like, okay, I'm either making progress or I'm not making progress. And so there's this objective metric that's kind of guiding you along the way. Putting's not like that. I've had players come in and say, you know, I'm putting so bad that I don't even want to tell you, I don't want to pollute your brain with the stuff I've used. I just want to start over again because I'm putting terrible. So it can't get any worse. It can always get worse, by the way. But there's so many of those subjective qualities that are taking place when you're trying to match a player to a putter. A player at your level is going to be able to notice things, even if you're not thinking about it technically in numbers. You're going to be able to go out there and you're going to be pretty aware immediately if a putter doesn't look like it's performing well for you. Yeah. And you're going to be really quickly aware if I give you a putter and you hit a couple putts with it, that it's like, I don't think I can play golf with this. Okay, you're good. Okay, there it goes. Would you say, if I asked you whether you tend to hit the ball low or high on the face on average, what would you say?
Low.
You tend to hit low on the face? Yeah, that's what I saw with that first one. So, again, that's not necessarily a common denominator among good players necessarily. I see some players hit a little bit lower on the face and some players hit a little bit higher on the face. Depends a little bit on how much handling they have, what kind of angle of attack they have. So, but that's what your first putt looked like. So your ability the way you get up to speed is very much like all the best pros that I see. Very constant, looks very much like a pendulum. That's that pre-impact acceleration. So you're about a mile per hour per second, which is what generally the best players do. So that part looks great. So far, your launch angle looks good and you have a little bit of backspin. That's probably a little bit of a product of the fact that you hit downward, right? Yeah. So as you hit downward, it's hard to get the ball to launch up, but have topspin. That was great. So launch angle about 1.5 degrees. The backspin is gone, basically just a neutral skid. You got Jedi Master status again on your impact, which is great. Good solid strike. The other thing it tells me too, like when you hit it real solid like that, if we see you striking a putter consistently solid, that tells me a little bit about lie angle and length as well. It tells me that the setup you have is probably working pretty well. If you decided that arcing was, you were to set up at a certain lie angle and then your plane was right here, kind of like those rails are sitting there, right? That if someone was defined as someone that had arc in their stroke as someone that came off that plane like this and went back to the plane and came back off it, that wouldn't be his style. That would just be bad. That would just be poor technique. It's not really something you wouldn't want to categorize and go, oh, you're just someone that arcs it. It's like, no, you're someone that swings it off plane. No pros do that. For amateurs, you see everything. You see all kinds of, it looks like they're trying to write their name with the backstroke, right? They have the heads maypoling around. So with amateurs, it's a totally different type of analysis. You're dealing with a lot of technique problems there. You try to work around those, but it's trying to put a fire out to some extent. You look up at the data and they go, well, what's wrong with my stroke? And you feel like a mosquito at a nudist colony. You don't know where to begin. You're like, there's so many things we can talk about. The interesting thing is there is a common error we see among pros. Usually more of them like the idea of having some arc and rotation in their stroke, the concept of that, like letting the face open a little bit, having a little arc to the path of their stroke, and then trying to feel like they release the putter to square and have some face rotation coming through impact. So the mistake I make is them maybe overdoing that a little bit. Even among pros, when the putter kind of falls off the plane underneath like that, they have a hard time of getting all the way back out to the ball. What they do is they start to direct it toward the target a little bit earlier before they get all the way back out to their plane. And so it'll look like they have a little tiny loop in their stroke and they'll tend to catch it toward the toe. So that's a common tour pro error or college player error.
Doesn't Phil have quite a lot of loft on his putter because of his
He's varied. I've obviously seen him come through here and tweak his putter 1,000 times. And honestly, it kind of depends on what he's working on. Traditionally, in the past, he's obviously been a lot this way, right? Where it looks like he's really dragging the handle forward. So those days when he did that severely, because he doesn't do that as much as he used to, especially when he went to the claw, that handle came back a little bit. But when he used a more traditional grip, he had the handle way forward. 5 or 6 degrees of loft would not be uncommon on his putters.
That was not good.
Okay, a little block.
Yeah, it was bad. That's my bad putt.
So far, what I would say would be, it looks like that putter, right? Because that's just one we pulled off the rack. So whatever that one is, it probably sets up a little too upright for you. We can see that pretty clearly on the lift screen. We'd probably want the toe down just a little bit.
What do you think about the length? I feel like it's maybe a tiny bit short. Like I feel like I'm gripping right at the top of it.
Sometimes you can look at a player, like if I look at your I'm starting to put my putter instructor hat on as opposed to my putter fitting hat, but when I look at your angles, it looks like you could accommodate a more length easily. Like I wouldn't want to see you get shorter. You could probably go longer, and it would, and your posture angles would still look really good. If that's confirmed also by, it's like I feel like I could do that too. That's probably a confirmation that we should try it. And the other thing I'd say, and this is more the putter fitting thing, as far as, is it possible that if we made the putter longer, we would make the arc wider at the bottom? If we made the arc wider, you would be less down on it. That would be worth trying, right? Okay, let's do this. Let's try a face bounce mallet. Oh my gosh! Look at the lower left hand, lower right hand corner. 3/100 of a degree face angle, 2/100 of a degree in the club twist. So that's rare. It's like if I get a good player in here, like a tour pro, you'll see some blues kind of sporadically come up, but not both those at the same time. Those happen to be some of the most important numbers you'd look at, and they're both blue. So that's very interesting. She's going to put up pretty good numbers most of the time. So it's definitely going into that mallet with the face balancing. It's definitely like it's changed. Yeah. We've hit enough putts now to where it's not a fluke. I mean, it looks like that has slowed down our rate of rotation. So I think my concern with that, even though we see that it's interesting and it makes a change, if the miss to the right is the miss you don't like that's the one that drives you crazy, everything about this putter tells me that's more likely what you're going to do. The trends I'm seeing based on the further adjustments I'd make to get that putter set up right for you is going to give you more of the miss that you don't like. Yeah. So what I'm seeing in the data is stay blade crank neck. I would say your instincts are correct to stay in that direction. I'm going to not turn on the computer. I'm just going to watch you hit a couple putts from down there, just me watching you. And I'm going to take another look at that line. We're going to leave the lie angle alone. The lie just looks just a whisker toe up. It's pretty good. Yeah, so that's 1 degree flat as standard. That's as flat as I'd want to go. I think keeping you at 69 is good with the lie, and then just needs to be 4 degrees aloft. That's going to put you where you need to be. Love 33.5 inches. Like staying with some toe hang, the crank neck blade. I think that's a great idea. I like staying with the middle of the 2-line head because that's going to give you a little more speed off the face. Instead, like you said, if you tend to come up a little bit short, maybe having the slightly faster face is a little bit better. How about like grip size, style? What's your preference there? You like the kind of the smaller tour grip?
I like this one, yeah.
You like that's called the Odyssey Tour Authentic 56. How about like just color like black versus like a satin head?
I think I'd probably prefer it in black.
So the difference between those two is that they're very similar. Radius in this corners is very similar. The Austin has a slightly bigger cavity and smaller bumpers, and the Madison had bigger bumpers and a smaller cavity. So they're the same otherwise.
What's the difference between that and that?
So this is the next question, right? So this would be, now you've decided on that one. This would be called the San Diego. And this is very similar shape to yours.
Yeah.
So this is gives you very
like
good,
square.
Yeah, exactly. Very sharp, 90-degree, boxy corners, which some people think helps them with their alignment cues.
I really like that, yeah.
You like the very sharp edges for the reference?
Yeah.
Okay. So you need a black San Diego at 33.5 with the Tour Authentic grip at 4 degrees aloft and 69 lie. That would be
Excellent.
a good. That would be a good.
And then I'll be holding loads of putts.
Then you'll make everything.